I'm going to go into the tidbits now. They're like little nuances that can be used in the larger spreads. I want to start with people, and my first example are the lady and the gentleman. So you'll see with the lady and the gentleman that they're both aces. When you read in a big spread, you use one of these cards as the significator card. So if your querent is female, it will be card 29. So all of the following is from this card. So everything that you start with your reading starts from this card. So if the male and the female are in the same row, pay attention to which ways the faces look. Because if they're looking like this, they're looking at each other, and I know if they're in the same row that they're looking eye to eye. Now if they're in different rows, I may have a different interpretation, and depending on what the cards are in between, I might have a clear understanding of what's going on. However, in this deck, this puts this card in the past, and if we put it in the future, he's looking away. I used to really resist reading these cards like this until I figured out that if he's in the future and he's an unknown gentleman, that it wasn't that they were looking away from each other. It was only if he was a known gentleman that they didn't see eye to eye. So let's go on to other potential people in the deck. A lot of Lenormand readers read that the court cards, the ones that correspondences that have jacks, queens, or kings in the corner, are potential people. I don't follow that rule because I don't find that it's true for me, and I really want consistency. I do have special cards, however, that are sometimes people. However, not all your cards in the deck should be possible people because you want to be really clear. So for instance, the stork can be a new baby, and the child, which is a jack, obviously can be a child. One of the things that I read often as a person that's not a person is the bear, which I may read as a parent. And I particularly picked the lilies because the lilies to me is the word experience as my keyword. So to me that's a grandparent if there's an inquiry about a grandparent. Also, best friend to me is the dog. And the dog's the 10. So the card correspondence is not a court card. Two of the correspondence cards that I do find to be people often are the whip and more often the snake. The snake to me is like that nemesis. That person that lies, gets under your skin, is constantly giving you that biting emotion. So I often find that the snake is a person. And this is actually why we brought the person out in the card. Because even though it is about the snake, it is so often a person when I'm reading about it, or a particular other person's behavior, because it's not about typically the querent's behavior for me. Let's talk about some of the other court cards that I don't see as people. The bouquet, the house, well, the house is family, so I take that back. The clouds, and the locket. For me, the locket's always about love, but I can see how people would make that conclusion like instantly. Another really interesting one is the letter. I find that people that have relationships with whom they correspond, oftentimes they recognize this letter as a person. So, the Tower is the next card I want to talk about. And the Tree. Here's the Tower. So the Tower, my keyword for it is perspective or structure. So if you're in a tower and you're looking down, you're kind of getting the big picture. But if you're at the base of it and you're looking up, there's this like huge thing right in front of you, right? So keep this in mind. So when it's how I know if it's a structure and I know what kind of structure it is, let's say that it's with the cross. To me, this is a hospital or a church, okay? If I especially see the scythe with it, I'm thinking hospital. So it depends on what it is. If I see the bouquet with it. It might be a florist. You get the idea. So as a structure, we know it's not a home because of the house card, but this card changes by what's around it, okay? I've also read it as a prison, and surprisingly, it really clicks with people. So, another card that's really interesting is the book. Under the Roses Lenormand, it's the journal. But in this particular case, it's the book, and most of the time. In this card, it's open. And a lot of the cards, they're closed. One of the main keywords for this card is secrets. And some people believe that if the book is closed, those are kept secrets. And if the book is open, they're exposed secrets. I'm not sure how they can be secrets anymore if they're exposed, but you get the idea. So, my favorite little tricky cards in the deck are okay, so this is the sickle, which is often the scythe in the deck. And this is the crossroads, which is often the path, and the cross. So first let's talk about the scythe. The direction that the scythe is pointing, where the tip is pointing, in this case it's going this direction. If you're reading it as the cutoff card, this is what it's cutting off. As the sickle, it's pointing up. So if there's a card above it, I know that's what it's cutting off. So look for the direction that the scythe or sickle is pointing, and that will give you like a really clear message of what's ending. The cross. The cross is four-pointed, but typically Lenormand readers, including myself, only read to the right and left of it if they read it this way at all. I do. To me, this is a situation that it requires faith, and it's a situation that really can't be got out of. So to the either side of it, I have a lot of information about what this burden is and what's really weighing down a person regarding the situation. Now the path is read another way. In a large spread, a lot of people read it as though the two directions are up here. So there'd be another card here, of course, like this. Sorry, I only have so many hands. But I like to follow the path. And here's the trick. Like other Lenormand lessons, it's really important to know your intention about this. If you're going to use it like that, know if it's going to be the two cards up here or the two cards beside it. In this particular case, the card goes to the right and to the left and up. And yes, I read it like that. Most cards, however, are two directions. And even this one, I just read to the right and to the left. So I did read it like this for a long time with the two cards up here. But I found that for me, following the path really worked. So I changed my intention. Just like I said, be really, really clear about it. So let's talk about the work cards for a minute. One of the occupation cards sometimes is the anchor. And for some reason this seems like learning occupation or work to me. I also read this like naval work, but for some reason the ship is not a work card for me. And I don't really see that in evidence of work in the history of Lenormand that I've studied. The bear card is often like the card of a boss. So if this person's a manager or boss or something, the bear card might represent their work. Okay, so if you're in a big spread and you're looking for someone's work and they're a boss, you're probably looking for the bear. Now, if this doesn't jive with you, you be really clear about what does, and that's what you said. Then a lot of people read the fox as employment. So this is employee, okay? Employee versus boss. And for someone who's entrepreneurial, I read this as the work card, the fish card, because to me the fish card's about increase and things that are movable and changeable. So when I meet somebody who's an entrepreneur, they create businesses, they have several things they do, I'm looking for the fish card. So you decide which cards mean what for work for you. Because if you don't know and somebody wants to know about their job and you get into the reading, it can be a mess trying to figure out what's going on. You might just decide the fox is always about work because it's intelligence and cunning. And to me, that would make a lot of sense. But just decide what works for you and always go with that. Okay? So use these little techniques inside of the big readings and they'll give your readings that extra oomph. Another fun way to read Lenormand is to do quick readings. And I find that I don't always provide what I would consider the correct answer, but it helps my brain kind of click things into place really fast. And I love doing this with friends because we all come up with these crazy answers and it's really laughable. I recommend doing it with 2 cards, but you can do it with 3 cards. So I'm going to do a few for you. Gives you the idea. I'm not pro at this, just warning you. So here we go. Started with something really simple. The lady in the garden. Gardener, the sickle, and the stork. Ooh, miscarriage, dog, and the key. Oh, I've seen this one on readings before. People read this as soulmate. I know I'm going off fast here, but I would say this is more like soul friend or answers in friendship. Okay, faster, faster. Letter and the locket. Oh, love letter. Choices, opportunities, fortunate choice, house, mice, house issues, get an exterminator. There you go. Anyways, you get the idea. It's really fun. I didn't go really fast enough, but go faster than that. And you're welcome to do your speed readings, like share a little video or see what you discovered. Anything that you discovered in the lessons, put in the comments section, really. I mean, let's talk. Let's really get things rolling. And that way, because if you have questions, other people have questions. Anyway, so have fun with it. That is going to be the best way to learn Lenormand.